Good morning and welcome to the regular meeting of City Council on Tuesday, November 19th, 2024. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Mr. Charlin.
Here.
Mr. Coghill.
Here.
Ms. Gross. Here. Mr. Mosley. Mrs. Cale Smith. Mrs. Strasburger.
Here.
Mrs. Warwick.
Here.
Mr. Wilson.
Here.
Mr. Lavelle, President.
Here.
7 members present.
Thank you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Our next order of business is to amend the agenda. Is there a motion to amend?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Our next order of business is proclamations. We have one to be read into the record from Councilman Mosley.
Councilman Mosley presents, be it further resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby declare Friday, November 15th, 2024 to be Brave Women Project Day in the City of Pittsburgh.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Need a second? Second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Proclamation has been approved. Next, we have a will of council from Councilman Charlin. Would you like it read in its entirety?
Yes. Could we have it read in its entirety, and I'd like to
comment.
bring them up here as well, if that's okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Certainly.
Councilman Charlin and Councilman Warwick present, whereas labor unions are critical in protecting workers and ensuring that workers are paid living wage, given better working conditions, and providing a voice on the job, and whereas Pittsburgh has a history of Union Town, a City of Pittsburgh is committed to standing with union workers, and whereas the hourly workers of Sodexo Live at Phipps Conservancy and publicly standing up and demanding a fair process to form a union with the SEIU Local 32BJ in order to negotiate fair pay, better working conditions, and respect and dignity on the job. And whereas in January 2024, Phipps Conservancy announced it would put the work performed by these workers out to bid. And whereas in April 2024, Sodexo Live workers delivered a petition calling upon their employer to remain neutral and establish a fair process allowing them to exercise their decision to form a union, and calling upon Phipps Conservatory leadership to hold Sodexo Live accountable and support the workers in their organization efforts. And now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby call on Phipps Conservancy leadership to respect the rights and recognize the value of their workers, to ensure that incumbent workers are hired by and contractors chosen, and be it further resolved that the Council of the City of Pittsburgh does hereby stand by workers and hereby calls on Phipps Conservancy leadership to direct Sodexo Live to immediately agree to fair organizing process, retain current workers, and fulfill the role as stewards of one of the Pittsburgh's most celebrated and iconic public spaces.
May we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
And let's have discussion. You want to bring your guest up?
Councilwoman.
So, I'm happy to sponsor this will of council today, and I'm very appreciative of the rest of council for joining us. I'm lucky enough to be on the board, or be council's representation on Phipps. Councilman Warwick represents the district here. We're here today because the workers at the cafeteria at Phipps are looking to form a union with 32BJ, and we want to offer our full support as well. So I don't know what order you guys want to speak, or Councilman Warwick, you want to say a couple words?
Hello, my name is Braden Caffrey. I'm here on behalf of the workers at Sodexo that have worked at Phipps. I'm a setup assistant. I'm here on behalf of not just the setup people. I'm here for the cafe workers. I'm here for the bartenders, and I'm here for the servers. I'm here to represent people who believe that they have more, that they deserve more here at Sodexo, and that we should be treated with respect that we deserve. There's many things that we are asking for, but most importantly, we call on Sodexo for more respect, better pay, tips, and just to feel like that we're respected by those who we work for. We've been working here for a while, and people here sometimes don't even know when they're going to be scheduled next, and this is not a way to operate a business. If they want to be sustainable, as Phipps claims that they are, that they need to follow what we are putting out for them, and that they need to listen to us, that we want a union and we want it now. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Pete Schmidt, Western PA area leader for SEIU 32BJ. We just want to thank everyone for their time, and Councilman Charlin and Councilwoman Warwick on this will of council. We truly appreciate the support, and as of yesterday, we definitely made some noise and got some attention out at Phipps and with Sodexo Live. So we appreciate the work and partnership with City Council on this. Thank you so much.
I just want to quickly say for the folks at Phipps, you know, Phipps is like a Pittsburgh treasure, you know, and Pittsburgh's a union town, and we love Phipps. We love going there. I was just there with the Christmas lights with my kids, and you know, like that joy, it should also be, you know, passed on to the workers there. Yesterday we heard some stories. I mean, honestly, stories of, you know, spotty management, sometimes not being able to take breaks, you know, inconsistent schedules, not being allowed to accept tips, managers turning down tips, like large tips that were offered on behalf, right? And that kind of inconsistency is what happens when you don't have a union, right? When it's individual managers. But the last thing I want to say is just really, it is so brave, you know, stepping up and, you know, trying to form union is so incredibly brave. It's scary. You know, you're afraid that you could lose your job. It is incredibly brave. So I want to, you know, congratulate you all. And I know you served the letter a long time ago, right?
It was in April, yeah.
In April, and we haven't heard back. So now's the time. And yeah, so congratulations.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The will of council has been approved. Congratulations. Do you want to take a picture, Councilman? Thank you all for being here. Our next order of business is public comment. I would like to remind everyone that the rules of council state that comments are limited to matters of concern, official action, or deliberation which may be before City Council. Profanity will not be permitted. After you are called, please restate your name, provide your neighborhood for the record. You'll be given 3 minutes to speak. Our first registered speaker is Dr. Ronald Lynn Miller.
Dr. Ronald N. Miller, Bells Hoover in Toronto, American Psychological Association from 2000. I am the author of Sex Gen Identity Formation, 16 man and 16 woman variants, 2015 and 2020. Global Intelligence Society candidate for President 2028. We have initiatives that are in play for 4 years to get the U.S. Supreme Court to go pro vote by voter verification for whom, and the U.S. Congress to begin to adopt an anti-electoral college amendment using Lauget-Naushinti, interdisciplinary international intel optimality via 5 world regional languages, Quipu. Concerns of this council include profanation in gender and budget issues. 12 November 2024, vote unverified by Gainey, Pittsburgh Mayor claimant Gainey, Pittsburgh City Budget reference. LGBTQIA, yes. Only 11 variants, 7 to 11 variants. This is pitiful. And no acronym specifics, no dollar commitment. Mr. Gainey and Mr. Lavelle and the council say yes to gender equity, but they offer no concrete specific definition that I can find. Gender primary binary duo mutum, African Hausa, man, M, mata, woman, W, is social ideation over genetic biological sex, sei, otoku, Asian Nihongo male, XY, ona, female sex. So gender identity, as far as I'm concerned, is an individual self varied by the set MW and the spectrum lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, queer, intersex, asex, ... 13 November 2024, City Council Standing Committee meeting. Vapid comments from non-councilor females on Pittsburgh City government commitment to gender equity. Is this your idea, Ms. Gross? Problem 1, no gender equity definition was given. Gender equity is transfer of resources from haves who have more and to haves who have less on a gender axis. Problem 2, the offices of council and mayor do not say directly, but do so indirectly, sly they are, that gender equity operationalization requires gender equality of LGBTQIA gender variants with M and W gender variables. Our people, 90% of our people in the city and across the United States do not accept this equality. How are you going to specifically operationalize this?
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Alicia Grishman.
Sorry, this is tight. Hi, my name is Elisa Grishman. You were so close. It's okay, my own mother has called me Alyssa 3 times now. I'm here today in partnership with Pittsburghers for Public Transit to talk about the need for increased bus shelters and sidewalk access to bus shelters in the city. Laura here will be coming up in a little bit to show a map. So I'm referencing something you haven't seen yet, I apologize. But there was a map that was created that shows 230 stops in the city of Pittsburgh that have enough rider access that they would qualify for having a bus shelter. Of that, a huge number of them register high in the equity index as being surrounded by low-income homes. One of those stops is directly across the street from my house. My wheelchair is $38,000 and it's very much not waterproof, and I get stuck at home a lot of the time because I have to wait for buses in the rain, and I can't do so because there isn't a covered bus stop right across the street from me. Now, think of this other places that I go. I need to have some sort of covered access. And, I'm not alone in this. There's going to be, every one of these bus stops around the city, especially the ones in the low-income neighborhoods, there's someone who desperately needs that stop to have a shelter. We're hoping that the city will, at the very bare minimum, keep the $110,000 that it has budgeted towards, shelter development, but preferably gets more. I also would like to encourage the city to have a focus on improving sidewalk quality around these bus stops, because you can have the nicest, shiniest bus stop or bus shelter that ever was. If the sidewalk is cracked up and broken up, I can't get to it. I've had to have my wheels replaced 5 times this year because of how broken up they are from the sidewalks. So that's that's really it today. I'd just like to encourage you to keep funding, bus shelters, keep funding sidewalk improvements, and happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Chief Pomai Chakman Yahalahi.
Inlakek Alakain, everyone. The light in me honors the light in you. My title is Pomai Chakmam Yahalahi. Great pronunciation. Thank you, Daniel Lavelle. I'm the Chief of Medicine, Land Management, and Stewardship with the Iroquois Confederacy of Aboriginal American People. I'm also the Grand Inca Chief of the Tuscarora Aborigines of the Americas. I'm here today to stand in support with the people who need these sidewalks to be made so that it's easy for the wheelchairs to access, and for little babies and mothers with children in general to be able to access, so that they have a safe way of standing while they're waiting for the bus. These, I've noticed myself, I don't ride the bus often, but I've noticed myself that there are different places where in the winter time it's very, very, very cold and there's no shelter, so obviously they're exposed to the most harshest extreme elements, the wind, the rain, the snow. And I think that even just if you refund this $110,000, that little bit can do some great in assisting, helping these things, right, to be made better for the people. I also think that funding in a higher capacity, you take care of the roads, you take care of the highways and the byways. We need that. So people who are traveling in their automobiles, they're safe. I think that you don't think enough about the people who don't have automobiles, and the transit is basically for people who are low income. From what I've done in my research, that's their most accessible means of transportation. So I think if you think in a compassionate manner, and as well, you have to think of your budget and you have to think of economics in that. I think it's a win-win. They'll get more ridership. I think the Port Authority and that will get more people riding, because if they're able to get out and feel safe and have shelters, especially in the wintertime, I think that'll promote something. And I think that's what you look for to increase that type of thing when it comes down to your bottom line. As Aboriginal Americans, I'm always going to stand and speak on behalf of our people. Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3, which states, and excluding Indians not taxed. And there's been a wealth of changes that have been happening throughout the Americas with the respect and honor and dignity of indigenous people. Don't forget, there are those who are like myself who would be traveling on those buses, and we deserve a healthy environment, and we deserve to be protected and treated with dignity, as we all do. Thank you. I yield.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Laura Weens.
Thank you so much, Laura Chu Weens, Park Place neighborhood. So I just want to provide a little extra context. Transit, of course, is the second most utilized mode in the city of Pittsburgh, and over 100,000 trips are taken on transit every day, the vast majority of which are taken in the city of Pittsburgh. Unfortunately, according to the Washington Post, we have the dubious distinction of having some of the lowest percentage of shelters to stops in the United States. In 2022, they shared that in the region, in the Pittsburgh region, we only have 8% of stops that have shelters, and that's mirrored by the city of Pittsburgh as well as in the county. It's important to remember too that the responsibility for shelters in the city of Pittsburgh is exclusively the responsibility of the city of Pittsburgh, right? So Pittsburgh Regional Transit does not have responsibility for shelters. And shelters, as you're hearing and you'll continue to hear, are important tools of climate resiliency, right? As the weather changes, it is important to have shade and protection. It's about dignity. We demonstrate respect and care and dignity for our most vulnerable populations by having this infrastructure. It also allows for more visibility for transit riders and safety. And so we showcase the amount of priority that the city puts towards these populations by investing in these resources. So as Elisa mentioned, the PRT standard for having a shelter installed is 30 plus riders a day. She mentioned this map, which I'm going to send you the link to, that shows the 230 plus stops in the city of Pittsburgh that are entitled to stops that don't currently have them. You can see they span every council district. They are color-coded by the sort of equity designation about what the surrounding populations, how vulnerable they are. And so I just wanted to showcase for the council members that in all of your districts, there are your constituents who are under these circumstances. So for the first time in recent memory, DOMI requested $110,000 to be put in the budget for shelter amenities, and that was not included in the budget. And so our ask today is actually to restore that amount of resources towards the budget, and frankly to expand it. That's the least that folks can do. It's also worth noting that there are 24 shelters that continue to be in defunct locations that exist on places in the city of Pittsburgh that don't currently have any riders. So they just need to be relocated. It costs something to install them, but it is embarrassing that we've had that for a decade or more. We also have some 12 shelters that are in a warehouse that are not being placed. The last thing I'll say is that DOMI, I will to give them enormous credit. They have been collaborating with us, going on bus stop audits with us. We want to continue this productive relationship. We also want to show our members and the members of the public that there's some outcomes out of these collaborations to have the deployment of shelters. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Ames Hannah.
James Hanna.
James Hannah. My apologies.
Yes, hello. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I just want to state, as a bus rider and a former operator, it is important to have shelters because it protects the people from the elements. And as a driver, I know where to look for the passengers, whether they're under the shelter or not. If they're not under the shelter, they're seeking shelter somewhere else. Now they're missing the bus because the driver cannot see them because they're somewhere other than where they should be to try and get the bus. And it is a very important thing to help both sides, riders and drivers, to have a safe space where they know where to look for the patrons that are trying to attempt to ride the bus. And I can relate one story of my bus riding experience when late at night one time, so torrential downpour pops up all of a sudden. They had to seek shelter under a roof somewhere else other than the bus stop. And the very last bus of the night rode right past because they could not see where I was at. So it is something that is important, and I hope that you guys consider taking that and fund the use of bus shelters in the city of Pittsburgh. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Zhaoji Chenang King.
Greetings, almost, you got it almost. In Laka'alaka'in, that's Proto-Mayan, for the light in me honors the light in you. Greetings. My Aborigine American title is Yahalahi Chanal Ka'in. I am an Aborigine American matriarch, and I am Indians not taxed. Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3, and excluding Indians not taxed. In the Bouvier's dictionary states, Indians, the Aborigines of this country, are so called. I am located within the Delaware Territory, as you all will call Pittsburgh. My statements will reflect my people's story, our perspective, culture, traditions, and heritage of the first inhabitants stewarding our ancestral lands, the Americas, including the islands. So the topic points and concerns today are heated bus shelters for the young ones, children, offspring, and or kids, handicap, and elders from the snow and rain, mainly extreme weather conditions. And with those heated bus shelters, having a signaling system attached to those shelters so that if an elder has trouble getting up fast enough to get the bus, they can either press a button and there'll be a flashing light or a mechanism that'll wave to the bus driver signaling like, hey, there are passengers awaiting and I need to stop, not pass go. Next is, an example would be, myself and my offspring, we were attempting to ride the Brookline, the Brookline bus. And that is at the last stop of the busway. There's no shelter there. So waiting in the freezing cold or pouring down rain, and if I were to have missed that bus, now I have to wait an hour or an hour and 30 minutes within that extreme weather. So heated bus shelters are a necessity. Frequent bus routes, meaning the 71D, the Penn Hills buses, Clareton buses, there should not be an hour or hour and a half wait. Whether you miss the bus or not, or whatever the concern is, you shouldn't have to wait that long for the next bus. Creating training programs / jobs for maintenance for the points that I have suggested, mainly the heated bus shelters. Also, I noticed that the city has implemented those bus route screens to explain the times, having those implemented as well, possibly not at the every bus stop. And as an Aboriginal American mother, that is an immediate concern. And not just for myself, there are other mothers that have voiced their concerns as well for unfortunate, unsafe situations at standing at these bus stops in extreme weather conditions. There is a lack of concern for Aboriginal Americans and all who travel the bus. And if there's a lack of concern, there's a lack of action. So honor your oath to the Constitution. That does mean creating safe and healthy, inclusive environment, not only for Aboriginal Americans and for your citizens as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Elise McDonald.
I just want to say before they start,
You've
it's scary enough
you spoken
being
once.
It's
We have other
scary
registered
enough being up
speakers.
here. Get off.
We have other registered speakers, ma'am. Thank you. Our next speaker is Elise McDonald. I do not see her online either, so our next speaker is Vincent Brandon.
Good morning, council members and Pittsburghers. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I am Vincent Brandon, bus operator retired from Pittsburgh Regional Transit, most recently operating out of West Mifflin Garage. Also, I drove out of the East Liberty and Harmer Garages. I'm a current member of Pittsburghers for Public Transit. I'm here to advocate for the equity and dignity of all passengers who utilize the Pittsburgh Regional Transit System and petition this council to prioritize improvements to public transit infrastructure throughout all of Pittsburgh's boroughs, specifically requesting installation of more bus shelters corresponding sidewalk infrastructure. This should prioritize those stops, as Laura Chu Weens pointed out. Those stops that Pittsburgh's Department of Mobility and Infrastructure have already been informed have dire need based on usage, passenger usage, and special needs of passengers who use them, such as seniors, Americans with disabilities, and Pittsburgh's workforce, who are taxpaying citizens, all taxpaying citizens. As a former bus operator, I can assure you shelters not only provide comfort and dignity to passengers, but they also facilitate safe access to buses for seniors, ADA ridership, while providing shelter from the elements for all. Additionally, as a bus operator, they help the bus operator with on-time service and quickly identifying passengers. As James Hanna pointed out, some of those stories about missing passengers, I can attest to that. You can miss passengers in inclement weather because they're hiding in storefronts or under other structures or shelters. And also include the efficient loading. These stops also include the efficient loading of passengers, especially those with mobility issues and small children. I encourage the council to visit stops in your districts and boroughs during priority hours to observe efficiency of these stops with shelters that already have shelters and maintain sidewalks compared to those without. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our last registered speaker is Roberta Stevens.
Good morning. A lot of people already spoke. What I want to say is about I'm a bus rider, and traveling on a bus is difficult if you like go shopping, food shopping, got like 10 bags, and trying to have somewhere to sit, to have a seat, not only just a shelter, somewhere to sit. That's difficult. And then shelter. A lot of people brought up shelter, and also like when I don't know if you guys take care of this, is like when you're on a bus and trying to get on the bus with your walker, or it's people like in the accessible seats, and I don't think it's my job as a customer to get on the bus and let people know that I'm supposed, excuse me, I think it's the bus driver's job to let the passengers know that, because they won't move out your way. I mean, I literally got on the bus like a couple of months ago. This guy had all his bags lined up as getting on the bus. I said, excuse me, he wouldn't move. On my way getting off the bus, he put his foot out. And I was like, excuse me. I said, here we go again. And he still didn't move. He was like, go ahead, you get on the way you got on, get off the way you got on. I said, okay. And I just lift my walker up like this and got off the bus. And then I see that's just gonna cause problems. So I just let that go. And I'm just saying to inform the bus drivers, if they could speak more, if we get on enter the bus, let the the other passengers know if they have like bags lined up in a way, in people's way, they should move them just a little to the side so just could get through. That's all. And let me think. It's like I said, the seating. I mean, like, I just, before I got disabled a couple of years ago, I'd get off of work, I could have a whole bunch of bags, and like I said, sitting somewhere to have a seat. And I believe there's people like have buildings like the banks and all that. I heard that they don't want bus stops at their buildings. So I heard that too, so I'm not quite sure. But that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That exhausts our list of registered speakers. If there's anyone in chambers wishing to speak, please come forward at this time. Provide your name and neighborhood for the record.
Good morning. Special Agent Sunshine. I'm going to open my comment with prayer. Whew. It involves praying for others. Father, thank you that I can come boldly before your throne and pray for the people you've brought into my life. Teach me to pray every day promises and prayers that produce wonderful results and make a difference for them. It may not happen overnight, but I believe that my prayer causes angels to go to work on their behalf. Chains of depression, sickness, and loneliness that have held them back will begin to loosen. I will lift them up and help bear their burdens. As I pray for others, I also know that God has someone praying for me. In Jesus' name, amen. Galatians 6:2 says, bear one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ. I've been passed up many times by bus drivers, and how do you not see all the things all the burdens that I carry? It's amazing. People do sit in those handicapped seats, and they will not move, and they are rude and belligerent to handicapped people such as this woman here. I've seen it with my own eyes. It doesn't make any sense. Yes, we do need more bus shelters. It's bad, y'all. It's bad. I didn't even really come in here to talk about that, but I will add a comment or two to it. Lord, please touch those who need shelter and protection from the elements. Proverbs 17:11 says, evildoers foster rebellion against God, but the messenger of death will be sent against them. There are a lot of people who have hate in their heart, especially towards the handicapped. And it's real bad, y'all. I can't make it up. Y'all cannot see the hate in the world today, really. And there are a lot of people that have that hate in their heart that are not going to see 2025. I may be a messenger of death, we don't know, but that's the message regarding those who have hate in their heart. 1922 of Proverbs says, what a person desires is unfailing love. Better to be poor than a liar. We've already disclosed that God is destroying liars. Please, if you're still telling lies, stop. He's not playing. He's really not playing with that one. Last, I'm going to just end with another prayer. Father, thank you for the expectancy rising in my heart that you have good things in store for me. Thank you that my hopes and dreams can be in you alone. I believe and declare that doubt is not going to keep me from what you have in store for me. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Next speaker, please.
I'll be very brief. My name is Marcia Bandes. I'm in Erica Strasburger's district, and I just want to thank her and Deb Gross for the work that they've done working with the administration to pursue an amended gender equity ordinance. And I look forward to seeing, hopefully, the entire council pass it unanimously this morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please. Next speaker, please. Seeing no further speakers, we'll turn to the presentation of papers, beginning with Councilman Sharlin, Chair of Human Resources.
No new papers, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilman Cosgrove, Chair of Public Safety and Wellness.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilman Coghill presents Bill Number 1187, Resolution amending Resolution 334 of 2022, which authorized the mayor and the director of public safety to enter into an amended agreement or agreements with Julota for software subscription-based client relations management services by increasing the total not to exceed amount by $64,451.72 for a new total not to exceed $204,431.72 over 3 years. Bill number 1214, ordinance amending and supplementing the Pittsburgh Code of Ordinances, Title 9, Zoning Code, Article 5, Use Regulations, Chapter 911, Primary Uses, Section 911.02, Use Table, by adding a new use, interim housing, and supplementing Section 911.04 use standards by adding standards for the same.
Thank you. Councilwoman Gross, Chair of Innovation, Performance, Asset Management, and Technology.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilwoman Gross presents Bill Number 1188, Resolution amending Resolution 414 of 2023, authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Innovation and Performance on behalf of the city of Pittsburgh to adopt an existing government agreement through the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania's Cooperative Purchasing Program and to enter into any related agreement or agreements and amendments thereto as necessary with Carasoft Technology Corp. For Google Cloud subscription services, Google Assured Workloads to provide secure storage for sensitive data on city's cloud platform, and to add astronomer cloud scheduling, tools, training, and installation services by increasing the approved amount by $6,870,384 for an amended total cost not to exceed $11,469,208.38 over 8 years. Bill 1189,
Resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Innovation and Performance on behalf of the city of Pittsburgh to enter into a startup participation agreements with selected entities as part of the cohorts of PGH Lab, and further authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Innovation and Performance to enter into program participation agreements with local municipal entities to allow such entities to test products and services through PGH Lab at a total cost not to exceed $100,000 over 1 year. And Bill number 1190, Resolution amending Resolution 848 of 2023, authorizing the mayor and the directors of the Department of Innovation and Performance, Parks and Recreation, and Public Works, and on behalf of the city of Pittsburgh, to enter into an agreement or agreements or amendments thereto with Rec Desk LLC to provide permitting and scheduling enterprise software by increasing the approved amount by $72,000 for amended total cost not to exceed $96,500 over 4 years.
Thank you. Councilman Mosley, Chair of Intergovernmental Educational Affairs. Councilman Gross, Councilman Mosley.
No new papers, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilwoman Kell Smith, Chair of Recreation, Youth, and Senior Services. Councilwoman Strasburger. Thank you. Councilwoman Strasburger, Chair of Finance and Law.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Councilperson Strasburger presents Bill number 1191, Resolution authorizing a fee schedule for 2025 pursuant to Chapter 170 of the City Code. Bill 1192, Resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Enterprise Mobility doing business as Enterprise Rent-A-Car in an amount not to exceed $6,692.51 over 1 year, and full and final settlement of a claim for damage and business loss of use of a rental vehicle from an accident with the City Emergency Services vehicle on Bigelow Boulevard on November 18, 2023. Bill number 1193, Resolution amending Resolution 523 of 2024, which reappropriated Federal American Rescue Plan funding by updating the approved projects as outlined in Exhibit A, Version 9. And Bill 1194, Resolution amending Resolution 525 of 2024, which authorized an American Rescue Plan Act agreement or agreements with the Pittsburgh Parking Authority by updating the approved projects lines at no additional cost.
Councilwoman Strasburger.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to waive the rules on Bill 1193 and 1194 so that both appear on tomorrow's standing committee agenda.
Maybe have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 1193 and 1194 will be on tomorrow's standing committee agenda. Councilwoman Ward, Chair of Public Works and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilwoman Warwick presents Bill number 1195, Resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure on behalf of the City of Pittsburgh to enter into a supplemental agreement or agreements with CDR McGuire, Inc. for project design management services and reviews in connection with various City of Pittsburgh projects to add funding for the preliminary engineering phase, increasing the total not to exceed to $3,711,256.73 at a net increase of $100,360.10 reimbursable at 95%. Bill 1196, Resolution providing for an agreement or agreements with Hill Community Development Corporation for costs associated with Ray's Hill District project and providing for the payment of the cost thereof not to exceed $250,000 reimbursable at 80%. Bill number 1197, Resolution providing for an agreement or agreements with Larson Design Group, Inc. for costs associated with Ray's Hill District project and providing for the payment of the cost thereof not to exceed $2,500,000 reimbursable at 80%.
Councilwoman Warwick.
Yeah, I'd like to waive Rule 8 on Bill 1196 and 1197 so that they can be discussed at tomorrow's standing committee meeting.
Do you have a second? Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Both 1196 and 1197 will be on tomorrow's standing committee agenda. Councilman Wilson, Chair of Land Use and Economic Development.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilman Wilson presents Bill Number 1198, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of City Planning to enter into an agreement and/or a contract with Pittsburgh Community Reinvestment Group for the purpose of utilizing an AmeriCorps Vista in the Department of City Planning at a cost not to exceed $15,000 over 1 year. Bill 1199, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of City Planning to enter into an agreement or agreements with an iDesign for the creation and installation of public art in the Beachview neighborhood at a total cost not to exceed $90,000. Bill 1200, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of City Planning to enter into an agreement or agreements with Shift Works Community Plus Public Arts for the management of a competitive process and distribution of City of Pittsburgh allocated funds for the creation and installation of public art along the University Line corridor at a total cost not to exceed $185,000. Bill 1201, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of City Planning to enter into an agreement or agreements with Yoga Motif for the creation and installation of public art in the Hill District neighborhood, total cost not to exceed $90,000. Bill 1206, resolution approving the recommendation made by the director of the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure that Children's Way in Allegheny Square East in the neighborhood of Allegheny Center, 22nd Ward, be paved with asphalt from origin to terminus in accordance with Section 41706 of the Pittsburgh City Code of Ordinances. Bill 1207, resolution providing for the continued designation of a downtown Pittsburgh Business Improvement District for the area shown on Exhibit A at the behest of the Pittsburgh Downtown Partnership, a coalition of property owners, business leaders, retailers, civic organizations, and residents. Bill 1209, resolution further amending Resolution Number 863 of 2018, effective January 1, 2019, as amended, entitled Resolution Adopting and Approving a 2019 Capital Budget and a 2019 Community Development Block Grant Program, approving a 2017 through 2022 Capital Improvement Program by reducing Sheridan United Methodist Church by $7,000, St. Andrew's Lutheran Church by $2,505, Neighborhood Economic Development by $4,300.29, and Higher Achievement Inc. by $10,500, and increasing Pittsburgh Hires Veterans by $4,500, Storehouse for Teachers doing business as the Education Partnership by $5,005, Brookline Meals on Wheels by $300.29, Friendship Circle by $2,500, Brothers and Sisters Emerging by $4,000, and YMCA Homewood by $4,000, and authorizing subsequent agreements. Bill 1210, resolution further amending Resolution 840 of 2019, effective January 1, 2020, as amended, entitled Resolution Adopting and Approving the 2020 Capital Budget and the 2020 Community Development Block Grant Program, approving the 2020 through 2025 Capital Improvement Program by reducing City View Church by $5,500 and increasing St. Michael's Food Bank by $5,500, and authorize subsequent agreements. Bill 1211, resolution further amending Resolution Number 647 of 2020, effective December 23rd of 2020, as amended, entitled Resolution Adopting and Approving the 2021 Capital Budget and the 2021 Community Development Block Grant Program and the 2021 through 2026 Capital Improvement Program by reducing Sheridan Community Council by $2,700 and increasing Neighborhood Community Development Fund on behalf of the Northside Chronicle by $540, Northside Youth Athletic Association by $540, Open Field by $540, Pittsburgh Higher Ground Foundation by $540, and Allegheny YMCA by $540, and authorizing subsequent agreements. And Bill Number 1212, resolution further amending Resolution 886 of 2021, effective December 27, 2021, as amended, entitled Resolution Adopting and Approving the 2022 Capital Budget and the 2022 Community Development Block Grant Program and the 2022 through 2027 Capital Improvement Program by reducing Prevention Point by $5,000 and increasing Brookline Meals on Wheels by $5,000 and authorizing subsequent agreements.
Thank you very much. And for myself, if we could first read Bill 1213.
Council President Lavelle presents Bill 1213. Resolution authorizing and directing the controller to encumber funds budgeted in the 2024 operating budget for a disparity study for subsequent expenditure once the procurement process is complete. Council authorizes the execution of an agreement, and said agreement is duly executed and countersigned.
Thank you very much. If a member would please offer a motion to waive Rule 8 on this bill, so it can also be on tomorrow's standing committee agenda.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Bill 1213 will be on tomorrow's agenda. Now, if we could do Bill 1202.
Bill 1202, resolution informing City Council of the reappointment of Elizabeth Fishback as a member of the Pittsburgh Parking Authority Board of Directors with the term to expire November 1st, 2028.
I need a motion to read, receive, and file.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The bill will be read, received, and filed. Then Bill 1203.
Bill 1203, resolution appointing Ronald Porter as a member of the Equal Opportunity Review Commission with a term to expire November 1st, 2028.
I need a motion to approve or to interview.
Motion interview.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We'll work with the clerk to get his interview scheduled. And then lastly, Bill 1204.
Bill 1204, communication from Jake Pollack, Director of the Office of Management and Budget, submitting to City Council the attached status update from the Grants Office for the week ended November 15th, 2024.
And we need a motion to read, receive, and file.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. That moves us on to reports of committee for final action, beginning with Councilwoman Erica Strasburger, representing the Committee of Finance and Law.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Councilperson Strasburger presents Bill number 1182, reported to Committee on Finance and Law for November 13th, 2024, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill 1118, ordinance amending Title I Administrative, Article 9, Boards, Commissions, and Authorities, Chapter 177C, Gender Equity Commission, in order to align the scope of work with the jurisdiction of the city government and ensure inclusivity in the Commission's actions and membership.
You've heard the reading and title of the bill. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the bill is now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye when her name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Mr. Charlin?
Aye.
Mr. Coghill?
Aye.
Ms. Gross?
Aye.
Mr. Mosley? Mrs. Cale Smith? Mrs. Strasburger?
Aye.
Mrs. Warwick?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle, President?
Aye.
7 ayes.
The bill, having received the legally required numbers of votes, is passed finally. That takes us to Councilman Anthony Coghill, presenting the Committee of Public Safety and Wellness.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilman Coghill presents Bill number 1183, reported to Committee on Public Safety and Wellness for November 13th, 2024, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill 1113, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of public safety to enter into a professional services agreement or agreements with United Diagnostic Services for professional services relating to voluntary health screenings for all Bureau of Fire personnel for a total cost not to exceed $1,178,125 over 5 years.
You've heard the reading and title of the bill. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the bill is now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye when her name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Mr. Charlin?
Aye.
Mr. Coghill?
Aye.
Ms. Gross?
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger?
Aye.
Mrs. Warwick?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle, President?
Aye.
7 ayes.
The bill, having received the legally required numbers of votes, is passed finally. That takes us to Councilwoman Barbara Ward, presenting the Committee on Public Works and Infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilwoman Warwick presents Bill number 1184, reported to Committee on Public Works and Infrastructure for November 13, 2024, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill 1120, resolution authorizing the mayor, the director of the Office of Management and Budget, and the director of the Department of Public Works to enter into an agreement or agreements with the Recycling Partnership for the purposes of receiving grant funds in the amount not to exceed $210,000 and in-kind support from the Recycling Partnership in an amount not to exceed $125,000 for public outreach around the city's recycling services. Bill 1121, resolution authorizing the mayor, the director of the Office of Management and Budget, and the director of the Department of Public Works to enter into an agreement or agreements with the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development for the purpose of receiving grant funds from the Community and Economic Assistance Program any amount not to exceed $50,000 for renovations to the Lewis Playground. Bill 1122, resolution further amending resolution number 466 of 2020, which authorized the mayor and the director of the Department of Public Works to enter into a professional services agreement with Studio Zoo for professional landscape architectural services for Homewood Park infrastructure upgrades by increasing the overall cost by $11,116.80 for a new city cost not to exceed $1,864,472.70 over 1 year. Bill 1124, resolution granting unto Pittsburgh NMR Institute, their successors and assigns, the privilege and license to construct, maintain, and use at their own cost and expense at no cost to the city, a retaining wall, a tree planter box walls, and concrete steps at 3221 Forbes Avenue, 4th Ward, 6th Council District. Bill 1125, resolution granting unto UPMC Presbyterian Shadyside, their successors and assigns, the privilege and license to construct, maintain, and use at their own cost and expense at no cost to the city, a new site wall with 3 planters, 2 site signs, a landscape island, a light, 3 concrete benches, and a planting bed that will extend into the right-of-way at 3701 5th Avenue, 4th Ward, 1st Council District. Bill 1126, resolution amending Resolution 468, approved September 6, 2022, granting unto United States General Services Administration, their successors and assigns, the privilege and license to construct, maintain, and use at their own cost and expense, at no cost to the city, to install shallow foundation wedge vehicle barriers and a card reader along with existing security compliant bollards, a post and beam rail, and a swing gate at 1000 Liberty Avenue, 2nd Ward, 6th Council District. Bill 1171, resolution providing for an agreement or agreements with Diamond Off Inc. for costs associated with the lighting management system project, providing for the payment of the cost thereof not to exceed $3,523,162.50.
You've heard the reading and the title of the bill. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the bill is now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye when the name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Mr. Shilen?
Aye.
Mr. Coghill?
Aye.
Ms. Gross?
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger?
Aye.
Mrs. Warwick?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mrs. LaBelle, President?
Aye.
7 ayes.
The bill, having received the legally required numbers of votes, is passed finally. That takes us to Councilman Bobby Wilson presenting the Committee of Land Use and Economic Development.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilman Wilson presents Bill number 1185, reported to Committee on Land Use and Economic Development for November 13, 2024, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill number 983, resolution approving a conditional use application under the Pittsburgh Code Title 9 Zoning, Article 5, Chapter 911, Section 91104A22, to the Urban Redevelopment Authority of Pittsburgh, property owner, for authorization to conduct an excavation, grading, fill, major use at 1096 Goodman Street, parcels 129F1 and 129J150, zoned RP, Residential Plan Unit Developments, 14th Ward, Council District Number 5. Bill number 1114, resolution further amending Resolution 863 of 2018, effective January 1, 2019, as amended, entitled Resolution Adopting and Approving the 2019 Capital Budget in the 2019 Community Development Block Grant Program and the 2019 through 2024 Capital Improvement Program by reducing consultants for plans and studies by $400,000 and increasing facility improvements, recreation, and senior centers by $400,000. Bill 1135, resolution authorizing the mayor of the city of Pittsburgh to enter into an agreement with the Pittsburgh Land Bank, allowing the Land Bank to independently access city-owned properties for the purpose of streamlining property assessments and facilitating redevelopment.
You have heard the reading and the title of the bills. Is there any discussion on the bills? Councilman Wilson?
Thank you, Council President. I have an amendment for Bill 1135. Motion to amend.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I just want to mention that included what was sent over from the administration. Also added the URA to the agreement, since which was one of the requests, because the land bank staff are technically URA staff, and then also corrected how we label what type of properties. And so it's now, instead of just city-owned properties, it's the managed and maintained pursuant to the 3 taxing bodies agreement, which is also attached to this amendment for further reference.
Thank you very much. Any further discussion on the amendment? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The bill has been amended. Any further discussion on the bills? If not, the bill is now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage of the bill, vote aye when the name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Mr. Sharlin?
Aye.
Mr. Coghill?
Aye.
Ms. Gross?
Aye.
Ms. Strasburger?
Aye.
Ms. Warwick?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle, President?
Aye.
7 ayes.
The bills having received the required numbers of votes is passed finally. That takes us to Councilman Kahari Mosley presenting the Committee of Intergovernmental Educational Affairs. Councilwoman Gross.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Councilman Mosley presents Bill number 1186, reported to Committee on Intergovernmental and Educational Affairs for November 13, 2024, with an affirmative recommendation. Bill number 1115, resolution granting unto Sports and Exhibition Authority of Pittsburgh, their successors and assigns, the privilege and license to construct, maintain, and use at their own cost and expense, at no cost to the city, raised entrances with flat landings, railings, and stairs, a stairwell and bollards located at the building loading dock, a stairwell with handrail located near the building entrance, and a vault will be constructed in the right-of-way of 1201 Wiley Avenue, 3rd Ward, 6th Council District. And Bill 1116, resolution providing for a cooperation agreement or agreements with Pittsburgh Regional Transit in an amount not to exceed $100,000 to support the development of an equitable transit-oriented development program around a to-be-completed new station on the East Busway at Preston Street. Bill 1117, resolution amending resolution number 525 of 1990, effective May 24th, 1990, entitled Resolution Authorizing the Mayor and the Director of the Department of Public Works to execute a long-term agreement with the Allegheny County Sanitary Authority and the Township of North Fayette to enlarge the area serviced by the Sanitary Authority to provide sewage treatment services for the above, located in the Township of Fayette, by authorizing the Mayor and the Director, Department of Public Works, to execute an amended agreement with Elkasan in the Township of North Fayette in a form substantially similar to the agreement attached as Attachment A. Bill 1119, resolution authorizing the city's acceptance of a deed and/or deeds conveying all right, title, and interest, if any, in 3 parcels located in Council District 3 in the 17th Ward, being identified as Block 3B, Lot 100, Block 3C, Lot 182, and Block 12A, Lot 130, from the Urban Redevelopment Authority of Pittsburgh to the City of Pittsburgh at no cost to the city. Bill 1123, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Public Works to enter into an agreements and/or amendments with the Pittsburgh Water and Sewer Authority for the purpose of municipal sewer compliance at Volunteers Ball Field in the Carrick neighborhood at a city cost not to exceed $486,808 over a period of 1 year.
You've heard the reading and title of the bills. Is there any discussion? If none, the bill is now ready for final action. All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote aye when their name is called. Those opposed will vote no. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Mr. Sharlin? Mr. Coghill?
Aye.
Ms. Gross?
Aye.
Mrs. Strasburger?
Aye.
Mrs. Warwick?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle, President?
Aye.
7 ayes.
The bills having received the legal required numbers of votes is passed finally. That takes us to motion and resolutions. Councilman Sharlin.
Yes, I have a motion here to add a bill that we did not get in time, the printing of the agenda. So motion to further amend the regular meeting agenda of November 19th, 2024 for the purpose of introducing Council Bill 2024-1 or 1216, a resolution amending Resolution 777 of 2016.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda has been further amended. Councilman Sharlin?
And I would also ask that we waive Rule 8 for this. Members should have this. This bill is to change the parking enhancement district in my district, which currently we are only allowed to pay for public safety and maintenance on East Carson Street. This will allow us to purchase seasonal decorations on East Carson Street this year for the holiday season.
You are further amending a bill. We don't need to waive Rule 8 on it. I don't believe.
Yeah, point of order. Did we read the bill?
We haven't read it yet either.
Okay, so we should read the bill before
Yes.
there's.
Okay.
Do you have the bill to be read into the record, Mr. Sherman?
I do, but I believe the clerk does as well.
Councilman Sharlin presents Bill 1216, Resolution amending and supplementing Resolution Number 777 of 2016, effective December 29, 2016, entitled Resolution Providing for the Creation of a Trust Fund for the Southside Parking Enhancement District Trust Fund and setting conditions for the deposit and expenditure of such funds. This fund is for the exclusive use of funding public safety, maintenance, and parking enforcement for the Southside Parking Flats Enhancement District, as shown in Exhibit A, by adding additional permitted uses for trust fund dollars.
So we've now heard the reading and the title of the bill. Is there any discussion?
It's new paper.
It's a new paper.
Yes, it's a new paper.
Oh, yeah.
So he wants to waive Rule 8 for
Right.
standing committee.
For to come up
Correct.
for standing committee. Okay.
Yes.
That,
Sorry if that wasn't clear.
no,
Yes.
that's my mistake. I thought you were amending something we had already passed. Sorry. So you want to make a motion to waive Rule 8? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Bill
1216.
1216, thank you, will be on tomorrow's standing committee agenda. Is there anything else from members?
Just want to thank the clerk's office and Sean Carter and everyone for being able to get that through. So thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? If not, we have a number of meeting announcements. This afternoon at 1 o'clock, council will hold an executive session on bills 1153 and 1192 as it relates to litigation matters. Also this afternoon at 1:30, council will hold a budget hearing on the Bureau of Emergency Medical Services and the Bureau of Animal Care and Control. Then on Wednesday, November 20th at 10 a.m., council will hold our regular standing committee meeting. Speaker registration will close at 9 a.m. The meeting of. To register, please fill out the form on the council meeting webpage or call the clerk's office at 412-255-2138. Also on Wednesday evening at 6 p.m., council will hold a cablecast public hearing on Bill 701 as it relates to zoning amendment for community homes. Speaker registration will close at 12 noon. To register to speak at this meeting, call the clerk's office at 412-255-2138. Thursday, November 21st at 10 a.m., council will hold budget hearings for the Bureau of Police. Thursday afternoon at 1:30, council will hold a budget hearing on the Bureau of Fire. And then on Friday, November 22nd at 10 a.m., council will hold budget hearings for the Office of Municipal Investigations and the Citizens Police Review Board. And lastly, Friday, November 22nd at 1:30, council will hold a cablecast post agenda relative to a plan for homelessness in the winter, chaired by Councilman Sharlin. With that, we need a motion to excuse the absent members, approve the minutes, and adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.